Why does it take so long to memorize songs, right? And it goes back to what I talk about with question number 3, which is, why do I forget so quickly the songs I spent months learning? The way you memorize songs quickly is similar. You got to learn the melody, you got to internalize that melody. When you're learning the chords, you need to quickly convert them and think about them completely as numbers, right? So I'm playing the 1 to the 5 to the 6 to the 3 to the 4 to the 3 to the 6 to the flat 7 to the 5. And once I think about any song like that, it allows me to transpose without even thinking about it, because I know the song by numbers. A second thing you have to do when you're memorizing songs, and this goes to people who read sheet music. Before I get into this, let me preface by saying I spent 9 years in college studying classical piano performance. I have a bachelor's degree in classical piano performance and a college diploma in classical piano performance, which means my entire college path as a music student was spent buried in sheet music. So I can read sheet music fairly well. However, when it comes to playing by ear, you got to get rid of the sheet music. And so a common mistake that a lot of people who already know how to read sheet music, common mistakes among those folks is they continually learning everything from the sheet. Everything, they put a sheet in front and they learn it. You can spend hours and hours and memorize that sheet music to the point where you don't need it anymore. That's still not playing by ear. Not because you've memorized a piece of sheet music, that doesn't mean you're playing by ear. Playing by ear requires you to learn a song and perform a song without using sheet music. That's what it is. Playing by ear requires someone to start singing and you sit down at the piano and accompany that person without sheet music. That's what playing by ear is. So if you already know how to read sheet music and you find that everything you learn is using the sheet, you're not playing by ear, you're not improving your ability to play by ear. Sorry to break it to you. And the reason why I wanted to preface that, my college sort of journey before I start, is to let you know that I have personal experience with this. I had to realize that, wait a minute, if I really wanted to play by ear, I can't rely on sheet music. It's just a completely different skill. Now, luckily, I learned how to play by ear first before I learned how to read music. So while I was learning how to read music, I was still building up my ability to play by ear. So I kind of was working on these two skills simultaneously. So I never really had to learn one completely and then learn the other. So for those of you who already have decades in sheet music reading, or that was the way you learned first, it's important to know that learning to play by ear is a different skill. It's going to require you to approach learning differently, and it's going to feel slower, especially for those who already read sheet music very well and can take most pieces and learn it within minutes or within an hour. And then you got to go learn by ear and you feel like you're just learning piano from scratch. But you have to make that mental switch that this is a new skill. It's going to take time, and you have to allow yourself to go through this painstaking, slow process. Why? Because you're developing new sets of skills, which means you're no longer reading a sheet music that tells you to put your hand here and play these notes. However, you're going to see a chord symbol that says C7, and you have to then think, well, what is C7? So you realize now that playing by ear requires you to get real comfortable with chord theory. So when you see a C7, you go, oh, it's just a C major with a minor 7. Playing by ear also requires you to make decisions about placements. It tells you to play a C7, but it doesn't tell you where to play it or how to play it. So you can play it here, like that. You can play it like this. You can play it like this. You can play it like that. It doesn't tell you. You got to make those decisions now. And that's part of the playing by ear artistic process. You get to make decisions about placements. So you got to dig deep into your own creativity. And that sometimes can feel a little overwhelming, but you got to allow yourself to go through it. and you have to rely on your own taste in music. So you don't want to get paralyzed and freak out about, I don't know where to play the C7. I don't know if it sounds good. Of course you do. Listen to it. Does it sound good to you? If it doesn't, change it. You don't need to rely on external validation to tell you where to play your chords or how to play it. Of course, you can learn from folks like me on YouTube about certain chord placements that sounds better, but at the end of the day, you need to realize that you are in charge of the music you're creating. When you see a chord written, it also doesn't tell you what rhythm to play that chord in. So that's another thing you're going to have to make decisions about. And these are the decisions that you make and practice and get better at. And that's what playing by ear is. It's a completely artistic process. So again, to recap, if you want to memorize songs faster, you first have to get rid of the sheet. Which means before you can learn songs faster, you're going to have to learn it slower and build up that speed. And I know it's going to feel like I used to be able to learn a song in 1 hour with the sheet. Now here I am 3 weeks later on the same songs because I'm trying to learn it by ear. It's okay. The good news is you're not racing against anyone and there's no rush. There's no exam that you got to prepare for. So just take your time and enjoy the process. But if you want to get better at memorizing songs, you got to learn the theory behind how ear training and learning by ear works. Again, this is a lot of the stuff we cover over at pianolessonwithwarren.com. So if you want more hand-holding, a more straight path to this, check out pianolessonwithwarren.com.